Hello, everyone. Welcome to season 2 of the Real Deal podcast, where we talk about real, raw, and relatable topics. All the episodes from season 1 came out. So many of you showed me so much support, sent me a message, a DM. A lot of you commented on the post that I shared to say how much you related with all the topics. So I was very excited to bring season 2, and I was actually wondering what is it that I can do to start relating more to a lot of you. And then I went into the basics while deciding on the theme for season 2, and I realized that when we are having a lot of conversations with people around us, common grounding for all of us are the emotions, right? Like there are so many different emotions that we go through on a daily basis. So for me, I was thinking more around setting up a theme for the podcast around different human emotions. And when I say human emotions, it's not like the happy emotion, the sad emotions. There are so many more of them which we feel on a deeper level. So every episode in season 2 will have an emotion which is very deep for a lot of us, but sometimes we notice what we are feeling and we understand what we are feeling, but a lot of times we are feeling something, but you don't know how to put words or how to express what you're feeling. So all the episodes is more of an understanding of deeper level emotions and feelings, and then we go into the detailing of those emotions, how to identify them, or I'm going to quote some examples. I'm going to share some real stories from my own life to explain it in a better way, and also give a lot of tips and what is it that you can do to understand your emotions, understand what you're going through, or work towards it. I have designed one pages for all the topics that we are covering in season 2, and that way, even after you listen to the episode, it's not like you've listened and you've just felt something and you've left it. You have something to put all those things into action, and I would really appreciate all of you giving me feedback on how you're finding it, because it only helps me develop further initiatives that I'm going to be doing with my platform, The Real Deal. So on that note, let's get started with episode 1. Before kickstarting with understanding of a lot of different deep emotions, I thought episode 1 should be more around emotional disconnection. So when you understand disconnection in a better way, you then start noticing what connection means. So episode 1, let's talk about what is emotional disconnection. Emotional disconnection is when we feel cut off from people around us, from things happening around us, and we kind of feel isolated and not feel anything. You feel numb, you feel shut down, you're on autopilot mode where you're doing things just for the sake of it. It's like muscle memory. You get up, you do all the things you have to do without feeling anything. And then you're avoiding intimacy, you're avoiding closeness. You don't like it when people come close to you. Even if you're physically next to someone, doesn't mean you have to be emotionally connected to them. So these are all some of the things that explains emotional disconnection. So if you have been going through something like this or have gone through something like this in the past, please understand that this is probably the emotional disconnection that you felt at one point in your life. Some of us might still be going through this on an everyday basis. So let's also acknowledge that sometimes it is not out of choice that you feel emotionally disconnected, right? You don't get up in the morning and think to yourself, okay, I'm going to be emotionally disconnected to people around me today. It's not how that works. It is not a choice that you make. Sometimes it's our mind's way of protecting whatever we have gone through in the past. Things trigger when you go through certain experiences, certain situations on a daily basis. So it's your mind's way of asking you to not risk by showing some emotion or by feeling something, and it just it asks you to take a step back. And the more the brain asks you to do that, the more disconnected you feel on an everyday basis with everybody around you. It doesn't have to be one person. In some cases, in some situations, it's with only one or two people that you always feel emotionally disconnected. But sometimes it so happens that you're so disconnected with your own self that nobody else makes any sense to you, and you don't want to be associated or connected to anybody in any way emotionally. When I say like anybody in any way, I mean emotionally, you don't want to be associated with them. Let's now understand why is it that we feel very disconnected with people around us. The first point: stress and burnout. We are all always constantly pushing through life. We want to get things done. We don't take things slowly. We are just, as I mentioned earlier, we are just on that autopilot mode where we just get up, brush your teeth, take a shower, get ready, drop the kids off, go to work, come back, cook, sleep, get homeworks done, get things done, clean. It's a routine. It's like an everyday thing which we are doing non-stop without enjoying that phase. We are not even pausing to enjoy what we are doing. And that's a reminder to all of us to actually do that. And you're like, even with my own example, I can say that there are few days where my mind is so occupied with so many things. I just don't even enjoy the meal that I'm having. It's just like that's a thing that I need to get done to move on to the next. So for me also, sometimes I feel I have to remind myself to, like, just pause, take it easily, and then just enjoy, at least enjoy that one meal that I'm having, instead of, thinking that as a chore and, just wanting to get done with it and then move on. So at that moment, I feel so disconnected with even the food that I'm eating. So these are some of the examples. And the more and more you keep doing this, the more burnt out you feel, and you feel very, very disconnected because of this. The next reason: past hurt or trauma. Our brain sometimes learns to, numb all the feelings that we are feeling because they are on a repeat. Somebody is abusing you, somebody is bullying you, somebody is neglecting you, and this is happening on a loop. This is happening on a repetition, day by day. The same things happen, and you start. First day you will feel sad, second day you will feel hurt, third day you will feel anger, fourth day you're like, why me? Fifth day you might be like, oh my god, dad is still doing it. Sixth day you feel the resentment. Seventh day you're feeling the same thing in the same loop. Eighth time, ninth time, 10th, 11th. So there's no stop, right? It is happening on an everyday basis. And then you reach a point where you stop feeling anything. You're like, this is it. This is what it is going to be. I get up in the morning, this is how I will be treated. Like, you train your brain that this is how it is going to be. And then you stop feeling any sort of emotion. And that is where you are totally disconnected. It might be, the partner that you're living with. It might be your parents. It might be your in-laws. It might be anybody. Even it might be a friend whom you catch up. It might be your colleague that you meet on a daily basis. The more and more somebody tries to hurt you, that hurt can also sometimes turn into trauma. And then you kind of totally disconnect with that person. Even that person's physical presence is not going to make any difference to you. So that is reason to why we feel disconnected. Now, the third reason: fear of a vulnerability. Sometimes, like, being disconnected actually for some of us feels safer than actually, like, risking like rejection from someone. An example that I might quote is, let's say you're in a relationship where you're not emotionally connected to that person at all. You're living in the same house, you're doing everything as a couple, but yet there is no reason for you to be emotionally connected. But you still feel it is better to stay in that relationship just because you're scared. Like, if you move out of the relationship, if you probably, if you're in a marriage, if you get divorced and you step out, then there is that fear of rejection from society. Like, you're fine to be disconnected and live in the same house, but yet you don't want to take that risk of going out. That fear is what also causes further disconnection. The next reason: emotional unavailability. As I mentioned, being together doesn't always mean you're emotionally there for that person. You might be, in the same house for 20 years, for 30 years, for 40 years, and yet emotionally disconnected. You might be sharing the same life. You might have kids together. That doesn't guarantee emotional connection at all. When a person is not even ready to understand what you're going through, to try and know what is it that is bothering you, to try and build a life with you. That unavailability actually causes a disconnect. They might, bring you the most expensive gifts. They might, treat you royally in front of your friends, your family, everyone. But when it's just the two of you, if the person is not even available to you emotionally, then that causes a disconnection immediately. You might not notice it at once. You might not notice it for the second time, but the more and more it happens on a repetition, you know that you're very you're feeling numb towards that person. You don't feel anything. Even if they come close to you, you don't feel any emotion. Even if they give you a kiss, you don't feel any emotion. Even if they give you a hug, you don't feel any emotion. So these are some of the signs that you're kind of getting disconnected. And these are some of the reasons as well why you feel disconnected. And lastly, the society pressure. You know how the society around us always says we have to be strong, and the more emotions that you express, you're either considered too much, or you're either considered you're told that you're not supposed to express your emotions so much. If you express it a lot, then that means you're weak. Strong people, strong-hearted people, do not talk about emotions. They take everything as a challenge, and they take everything with a smile, and that is not how you're supposed to be. Yes, it's very true that we are all supposed to be happy in life, but just smiling for the sake of it doesn't guarantee any happiness. You can look at all the positives in life, but yet you're still allowed to go through like unhappy emotions, like sad emotions. The body should feel every kind of emotion. I used to be this person, when I would think that I should always, be smiling, I should always be available to people. And I was very scared of expressing my sad emotions, my sad feelings, or the not so good feelings. But over a period of time, I understood that how much my body physically needs to go through those emotions, and how the body needs to like go through the whole thing and then drain it out. And the kind of physical relief that you get when you drain out on emotion is really like it's very amazing. And the more I understand, the more I started realizing that it's okay even if it's not a great feeling. I still want to feel it, wholeheartedly and as a whole. So this happened with me understanding a lot about myself, and this is my exact reason why I came up with this theme for season 2. As we talk about this emotional disconnection, I also want to quote something that has happened in my life. There have been times when a certain person has put me down so much, to a point where even if I'm with that person in the same room, I would say things to them which I don't even mean. I was saying it just for the sake of it, just because there are people around me and they're going to kind of think that something might not be right. Just to avoid other people suspecting, I would say things to them which none of it was coming from my heart. I would say it just for the sake of it without feeling any emotion. And it went to a point where one day, I just realized I'm using the same sentences for this person on a repetition mode. Every time I'm saying something very similar to like what I said last time. And I was thinking, am I on an autopilot mode where whenever I'm in the same room as this person, I say things exactly in the same way, just because people around us shouldn't think that there is something wrong? And after a few years, I stopped it. I stopped defending the person. I stopped saying things just for the sake of it, even though I was so disconnected to them. It's not like we were meeting on an everyday basis. We were meeting like very now and then, not really very often, but still, I stopped doing that. And just like how I started recognizing what I am feeling, you can also do that. There are a few questions that you can probably, as a starter, you can just start asking these questions. Once this episode is done, just ask yourself, if you're feeling numb more than often. Are you the person, who kind of avoids deep conversations or emotions? Do you find reasons to skip conversations because you just don't want the other person catching you on your emotions? And I like, are you somebody who is watching life happen rather than living it? Like, as I mentioned, are you on that autopilot mode where you're just doing things without feeling anything? Do you want people to be close to you, but you also fear when somebody becomes close to you? So these are some of the things you can definitely ask yourself to, understand yourself better. And as we're talking about this, I also have, a few small steps that I've written down, which will help you to also reconnect. The first one, name your emotions daily. It might just be a one word. At the end of the day, just ask yourself, are you frustrated with the day? Are you tired? What is that one word that describes your day? Now, you might go through multiple emotions on that day, but there is always that one emotion that outweighs the other. You cannot say, I was 50% happy and I was 50% sad, because when you're going to bed, you are not going to think of that one incident from both emotions. You're going to probably think of something that made more impact, whether was that a happy moment or whether that was a not so happy moment. So that's your word. That is what you felt for your day. So make this as, a practice, a habit every day before you go to bed. Next, do a body check-in. So this is something that I never did before, or I didn't even think would work. But there are a lot of days where I do these body scan meditations. You can get these videos on YouTube as well. You just have to, type body scan meditation, body check-in meditation, where there are guided prompts of what you can do. So it's basically closing your eyes and being in a space where you kind of feel safe. For me, it's when I sleep on my bed in my room. It can be anywhere for you. So it's just sleeping with your eyes closed, and there are guided prompts that tell you to start your body check-in from your head to the toe. So you're doing breathing exercises, but you're also, focusing on your head, on your eyes, on your face, and then you slowly from top to bottom. It initially, I found it hard to understand what is happening, but the more and more that I did, I started noticing where I'm finding, like, feeling very heavy. For me, most of the times it's, either like I feel very heavy with my heart. I feel heavy with my shoulders. I feel heavy in the knees. It's like I want the stress to just go out. So the more and more that you do, the better understanding you get of your body. The third one, write down, draw, or voice note your feelings to first try and understand how you feel. Sometimes we know we're going through something, but we don't have an understanding of it. So I like writing. You might be someone who doesn't like writing, or you might be somebody who likes to speak it out. So you can try voice noting whatever you're feeling. If you do not have somebody with whom you can share, you can definitely try these ones. Some people draw it out. There are people who also like dance, sing, just to get your emotions out. There was a very long time, and even now I sometimes do it. The way I try to understand is with music. I listen to a lot of songs. Sometimes when I pull out my playlist, I just want to go and listen to sad songs. That is a way my body is telling me that there is something very deep that I'm feeling, and I'm letting that out through listening to emotional songs. And there are some days where I just want to listen to happy songs, dance numbers. I'm just, I feel so happy and hyped up, and I just want to like enjoy. So I started noticing this a lot. And whenever I was feeling very heavy, my hand automatically would switch on to those sad songs and listen. And that's when the lyrics started making more sense. And I would skip to the until I find a song that actually resonates with what I'm feeling. So there are a lot of ways to get your emotions out. You might be someone who was very good with drawing your emotions out. So try that. Try sitting down and writing, like drawing it, whatever you're feeling. The next one is talk it out with someone you can trust. And if there is no one, you can approach a professional coach or a therapist. Now, it's very important to understand that not everyone will have somebody whom they can trust. If you have someone, then that's really amazing. And I'm very glad and I'm very grateful that I do have some people in my life whom I can trust, and have honest conversations with. But I totally understand not everyone has it. So if you feel like you don't have anyone, try finding a professional coach or a therapist. Please know that therapists are not only for people who get diagnosed with mental health illnesses. Anybody can go to a therapist. You don't have to be someone who is going through anxiety or depression or any kind of mental health illness. And there are also a lot of coaches available, healing coaches, life coaches. There are so many of them who actually can, sit and listen to what you're going through. You have that a friend who sits and hears, who doesn't judge you. That is what we want. We don't want anybody to tell us that, what you're doing is this, what you're doing is that, this is right, this is wrong. We just need somebody to just listen to us. So there's help always available. It's just on you whether you want to ask or not. But as I mentioned, even if there is nobody, to listen or with whom you can share, you can always voice note it. So record everything, listen to it. You be your own listener. Sometimes when you start expressing with that, in that flow, you start saying a lot more things. The more that comes out of your body, the better it is for you, because you start feeling so good when the emotions are out. The last one that I have is grounding practice. This is basically noticing 3 things that you can see, 3 things that you can hear, and 3 things that you can touch. So it's just to, make yourself aware that you're present in that moment. If you're touching something and you're not even feeling that touch, you're not hearing anything, you're not able to see things, then that is an alarming thing for you, because then you definitely need help. So these are some of these small steps that you can use to reconnect with yourself. Now, it is also very important to understand that emotional disconnection doesn't mean you're broken, right? It means that your mind is trying to protect you. And the best thing, or like the good news, is that we can always reconnect with ourselves. The more we reconnect with ourselves, it's better for us. It's better for everyone. There are always these step by step methods that you can follow, which will then kind of turn into your routine. Initially, it will be hard. You might not feel anything. You might not understand what you're, trying to achieve out of doing all these exercises. But trust me, it definitely works. If you have listened to the episode till here, I really want you to download the 1-pager prompt sheet that I have, which will definitely help you, in understanding emotional disconnection. And it kind of will help you, or it will guide you what you can do to start understanding yourself better. You don't have to have any fancy books or anything to start doing this. You can just take any book and start writing it out. And if you're someone who doesn't like writing and who is, who feels like they don't have time to, sit and write, just download that page and just type it out in your phone. If you don't want to type also, that's totally fine. You can just read the question and answer it in your mind. At least you can do that. You don't have to type. You don't have to take any, you don't have to put any extra effort. All you have to do is read out that question and answer in your mind. So, you very well know that nobody's, hearing you. And thank you for being here with me today. And if this episode resonated with you, I would really appreciate if you could share it with someone who you think, can make use of it, can make use of these exercises, these tips in, better understanding themselves. Or if you feel like you might know someone who's emotionally disconnected, this episode might also help them. I have kickstarted this season 2, I feel, on a good note. So I would really love to know what you felt about this episode. So please let me know in the comments, or you can send me a DM, you can send me a text message, and I would definitely love to hear your thoughts. And I'm very grateful that you have tuned in to this episode. You've supported me before, and I'm very sure you're going to support me now and in future as well. So please do like, comment, subscribe to the channel, both on Spotify and YouTube. And yes, please don't forget to let me know. Your feedback is very, very important. So I know that I'm putting in all the effort in the right direction to bring out the best for everybody. So thank you, and I will meet you in the next episode. Bye.